Today I'm going to look at the CAGED system, what the CAGED system is, how it works and how it can be unlocked. I've studied guitar for many years and a lot of things that I've practiced, even though I've enjoyed practicing them, haven't been that useful to me. So now when I find things to practice, I try to look for things that are going to actually be beneficial with my own music rather than just something to do on the guitar. Hopefully by the end of this lesson you'll see that the CAGED system is useful and can be used to make your music more interesting. I'm going to start off by looking at just the simple basics of the CAGED system, just so anyone that doesn't know what that is. But I'm not going to go too much into depth into that. I'm going to more look at how to unlock this CAGED system. So the CAGED system looks at the basic shapes of the chords. You've got your C, an A, a G, an E, and a D. You can use them shapes to play all the chords. So you can play a C, but you can use the A shape and make a C chord. Let's take a look at the C chord going up the neck and the different positions that's in. So you've got the C chord here, then you've got the A, so if you move the A up to here, but that's the C chord now, this being your root, because here you had the A open, now we're making this a root, this C note, and we're playing the A shape, and that's a C chord there. But the next one is the G. Now the G shape, that was your root here, the G. So we know this is the root here for the C, which is the 8th fret of the E string. So if we do a G shape from there and bar on the 5th, we're making a C chord. But we also know if this is your G shape, we can play the E shape here and make a G chord. Well, if this is our C note, we can make that a C chord now. Now for the D shape, when we play a D chord, this note here on the B string, the 3rd of the B, is a D. So if we come up to the C here, which is the 13th fret of the B string, and make that shape again, you're playing a C chord, but I'm adding in here the 14th note of the D string. So your C, a C, a C, another C there and a C here, and then back to the original C shape. So I could play an F here, an F here, I could play an A here, an A here, I could play a G here or a G here. But why am I not having to go through the sequence of each CAGED system to work out what chord I want to play? How come I can jump to it in the position I want the chord to be in? To use the CAGED system effectively, I learned the notes of the E string, the A string and the B string, because knowing where your roots are, then you know which shapes you need to form to create the chord you want to play. So if I wanted to play a B chord, I know that the B is here on the 7th fret of the E string, and I know if I'm playing on the E string and from here with the root, I need to play that E shape. But if I was playing a G, as we know here, you can do it there again on this E string, you've got your G there. Or if it was a D, you come up here to the 10th fret of that E string, and now you have a D chord. So when we're using the E shape of the CAGED system, we're looking at the E string here and the notes along this E string. And whatever note we come to, if we play the E shape, we're playing that chord. So here on the 7th fret of the E string, we play that E shape, we're playing a B chord. We come to the 10th fret, we're playing a D chord. We come to the 5th fret, we're playing an A chord. Now let's look at the A string, and if we use the A string, we're going to be looking at the A shape. And if we look at the roots as we go up the A string, we've got the open A, and then we've got a C here, we've got a D on the 5th fret, we've got an E and an F, and then we've got a G which comes up to our 10th fret. If we come to the 5th on the A string, as a D, that's our root, and we make that A, we're playing a D chord. If we come up here to the 10th and again make that A, we're playing a G chord. So all the notes that we find along here, all the roots we find, to play that chord, we use an A shape. So to play a C, we come to the 5th of the A and we're playing that A shape, and all we're doing is sliding that A position up and we're playing a bar chord. Now we've looked at the A and the E, which arguably a lot of people will have some or all understanding of. So now we come to the C, the G and the D, which I think a lot of people don't have as much understanding of, if any understanding of. The G one I don't use as often, to be fair, and I've never used it in my own writing. The C and the D I do use a lot. So the next shape I'm going to look at is the D shape. And when we play a D shape, we play this D open, and we also play the D here, which is the 3rd fret of the B string. But what I'm going to do with these chords here and this shape is add in here this note here, which in this position would be the 4th fret of the D string, which would be an F sharp. Now F sharp is part of the D chord because here we're fretting on the 2nd fret of the E string, which is an F sharp. Now if we move this shape up the neck, whichever note we're playing on the B string, that represents the chord we're playing, but we keep exactly the same shape. If we come up here to the 10th fret of the B string, we're playing an A chord. If we play the 8th fret of the B string and use that shape, we're playing a G chord. If we come to here and we use the 6th fret of the B string, we're playing an F chord. So the notes of the B string, you've got your B open, you've got your 1st fret, which is a C, your 3rd fret, which is a D, then you've got your E and F, you come here to the 8th fret, which is a G, you've got the 10th fret, which is an A, and then you're back to your B, which is the 12th fret of the B string. So using that shape and coming to the 12th fret of the B string, we have a B chord. So now we come to the C shape. Now there's 2 ways I locate the C. You can either use your A string and the roots on that, or you can use your B string. So if we look at the A string first, if we come here to the 7th fret of the A string, and that's your E note, if we play a C shape coming down from that, we're getting an E chord. If we come to the 10th fret of the A string and play that C shape, we have a G chord. If we come here to the 5th fret of the A string and play that C shape, we have a D chord. So if we use this root on the 7th fret of the A string and come down and play a C shape, we have an E chord. And if we use this root and go up, we use an A shape, but we've still got an E chord. There is another way of locating the C shape, and really we've already looked at it, and it's using the B string. So to form the C shape, if we look at the 8th fret of the B string, which is the G, and we make that D shape, but now if we add in the 10th fret here of the A string, we're making a C shape. So we'd already learnt that from previous about the B string, but now all we're doing is adding in this extra note to make the C shape, or you can bar it right across. So if we came here to the 5th fret of the B string and play this E note, and we play that as the D shape, but now we add in the 7th fret of the A string, again you've made that C shape, or you can bar it across and play all the strings down. So that's another way of forming the C shape. So now we come to the last shape, which is a G shape. How do we find the G shape? Well, we've come back now to the E string again and the roots along the E string. Now if we came to the 8th fret of the E string, this C note here, now previously we'd done the E shape and that would make a C chord, but now we want the G chord. Now if we look at the G chord itself, the root here is a G note, so it makes sense that this note here being the C, we would make that now into a G-shaped chord, but it is a C chord. Previously we've done this, that's a C, but this is also a C chord. If we come to the 10th fret, this D being the root, now we would come back here, and that would be a D chord using the G shape, but previously we used the E shape to make a D chord. So there you go, the CAGED system. I hope you found that lesson helpful. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Till next time.